Hello everyone, hope you're alright. In today's video, I'm going to plant some of my cherry tomato plants in my raised bed. This is the mid-April and we are having quite sunny weather these days. During the daytime, it's mostly 15 to 20 degrees centigrade and sometimes above 20 degrees centigrade, but nighttime temperatures are still pretty low, so 5 to 10 degrees centigrade, and it can drop below 5 degrees centigrade on some nights. So it's still a little bit risky to put these plants outside in the garden or in the raised bed. They can go under transplant shock, and they will be more vulnerable to weather changes like rain or snow or hailstorms, winds, etc. But I have got almost 20 cherry tomato plant seedlings, and I thought I would plant some of them into the ground, I mean raised bed, and will keep some of them in the greenhouse. It will be a good comparison to see how they perform. And also you can see they are in these small 6-ounce cups, and they are running out of these cups. They have got really nice root system and they're pretty root bound, and they are almost 1 foot tall. So it's a good idea now to plant them either in raised bed or in the garden or in a bigger pot, so they can put on more growth. If you have limited amount of seedlings, I won't suggest them planting outside until you are sure of that there is no more danger of frost and there is no more bad weather coming your way. So then you can plant them outside in a patio container or in a raised bed or in the garden, the way you like them to plant. But if you have pretty good amount of seedlings going, like I am having 20 plus cherry tomato seedlings and lots of salad tomato and moneymaker tomato seedlings, so I can take a little bit of risk. And the good thing with tomato seedlings is that they produce suckers. So if a plant does struggle in harsh weather, we have an alternative way to address it, like we can let the sucker grow. I'm going to discuss the suckers in more details at the end of the video, so please keep watching the video till the end if you are interested to know more about suckers and how to deal with them. So basically my plan B is, if my plants struggle outside in this raised bed due to pretty bad weather, which is expected up until June, then I can let some of the suckers grow, which will give me a good shield anyway. And finally, it will be a fun experiment to compare the growth rates of both plants, the ones that are in the greenhouse in controlled environment and the others that are in the raised bed outside in open weather, and it will give me a pretty good idea on how much they produce. So basically, as you can see, I'm burying these tomato plants pretty deep in the raised bed, so you can put the tomato plants deep in the ground, which will help them to produce more roots and establish pretty well. So you can remove the lower leaves and bury the tomato plant deeper than the original soil level. Here in the greenhouse, I'm going to pot up the other tomato seedlings, because as you can see, it's a small 7-ounce 6-ounce cup and the plants are running out of the cup. That's why I planted some of them outside in the ground, but I don't want to plant all of them in the ground because it's still a little bit risky. I may lose all of them if I put them all in the ground at this time of the year when there's still danger of frost. So it's not a good idea. You need a plan B for your tomato plants as well. So here I have got a bigger cup which is double the size of this cup where the plant is already in. So you need a bigger cup which has room to grow around and at the bottom, and I'm filling it with multi-purpose compost at the bottom, so 1-inch layer at the bottom and almost 1 inch layer around this original soil level. And as you can see, this is pretty root bound, so you can fluff up the roots a little bit, which will help them to grow in all directions. And I'm going to place it in the cup, and again you can bury them deeper than the original soil level, so you can see to if it fits in the cup properly. So I'm going to bury them a little bit deeper, removing the lower leaves and putting more compost around the plant, around the root ball, and packing it nicely so there are no air pockets. So here I'm going to plant all the seedlings in these bigger cups the same way I have done this one, and I have got almost 10 to 12 more seedlings to plant in these bigger cups. These are recycled yogurt cups and I keep collecting them. I haven't got enough for all the seedlings, so I will plant as many I have got, and then I plant the rest later on when I collect more. So you can use any pots, recycled plastic pots from your house, or you can buy nursery pots or bigger nursery pots. It doesn't really matter. So as long as you pot them up in a bigger container, or you can pot them in a patio container if that's the final destination you are going to plant your tomato seedlings. Here you can see some of the leaves. Lower leaves are not looking pretty good. They are purple on the other side and a bit yellowish. It's okay at this time of year due to changes in temperature. Tomato seedlings can suffer a little bit. You can remove these low leaves and the suckers, which I will discuss later on. So basically they will recover from this as the temperature warms up and stays warm all the time. So basically I'm removing the lower leaves and the suckers to make sure that there is pretty good air circulation around the plant, and you can bury it much deeper than the original soil level. This is the top of the tomato plant from where the new growth comes, and that's looking quite healthy and good, and that's all right. So I'm going to plant all the seedlings in these bigger cups, and I think they will be much happier in these new cups. Seedlings can go in a little bit of transplant shock when you transplant them for a week or so, so you don't notice much growth on them, and that's all right. They could be a little bit floppy, so you don't need to worry much. They recover the transplant shock quickly and they will be growing really well again. Here I'm using the multipurpose compost for transplanting my seedlings, which has fertilizer already added to it, so slow release fertilizer, so it will help the plant to establish fast, and it will feed the plants as well. However, I'm already fertilizing my tomato seedlings at this stage on a weekly schedule with a water soluble fertilizer. I have got some of the seedlings left in these little cups, which I will be potting soon up in bigger cups as I collect more recycled plastic pots. So this is done now and they are looking good, nice and healthy, and I'm going to water them really well. It's really important to water your plants which are in containers, especially in dry climate or dry weather, because they heavily rely on you for the water and nutrients, so you need to keep an eye on. So here I'm going to show you the suckers, and I'm going to discuss how you can deal with them. So if you look at this plant, it has main stem and it has the leaves emerging from the main stem. And if you look at the joint between the main stem and the leaf, there is another shoot coming out, which is a sucker. So tomato plants produce lots of suckers at the joints between the main stem and the leaf, and basically you want to remove these suckers because you want the plant to focus on producing flower buds and tomatoes and not waste the energy on producing suckers. If you let these suckers grow, they will develop in new shoots, and that's not quite good because the plant will be wasting its energy, and also there will be poor air circulation and the plant will be vulnerable to catch more diseases. So you want to remove the suckers that are growing between the main stem and the leaf. However, this is only true for indeterminate variety of tomato plants. Indeterminate means they keep growing, so they produce a flower set and then they keep growing, and then they produce another flower set and they keep growing, and they can grow pretty tall and you may need to stake them. They can grow like 7 to 8 feet tall, and basically by removing these suckers you ensure that you get a strong healthy plant and good yield of tomatoes from your plant. However, if you are growing a determinate variety, which means that they grow for a determined amount of time, a determined size, and they produce a determined yield, then you don't need to remove the suckers. You can let the plant do its thing. Because if you remove the suckers on a determined variety of tomato plant, it will highly affect the yield, it will reduce the yield, and basically you don't want to do that. So it's important to know which variety of tomato plants you are growing. Here I'm growing cherry tomato plants, salad tomatoes, and moneymaker tomatoes, and all of them are indeterminate tomatoes, so I can remove the suckers on all of them. However, if you are growing a determinate variety of tomato, you don't need to remove suckers, and that's absolutely fine. So if you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and do subscribe to my channel, as it helps me to make more videos, and click on the bell button so you receive all the notifications. Your opinion matters to us, so please leave a comment. Thank you very much for watching. Bye.